Money 2020 will also launch in mainland China next November in the city of Hangzhou. Hangzhou has been carefully chosen. Oh. Thank you. Hangzhou has been carefully chosen. It is the home of world-leading fintech and internet businesses, and we have been so impressed by the city's long-term commitment to the future of finance and business, as demonstrated by its hosting of the G20 summit in 2016, in the same venue that we will use for our China show. We know that the Chinese market has developed at formidable speed, thanks to the scale of inventiveness in its approach to fintech. China now represents the largest fintech investment market in the world and is solving customer and business problems in new and interesting ways with incredible platforms. And you can hear from Tencent and Alipay talking about their businesses here in Vegas.
We just finished replacing our core banking system, and most banks in this country don't take that step because it's a very long-term payoff. It's very hard. Our card system has had lots of investment over the years, and it was already state-of-the-art, but the core banking system, our $40 billion of deposits and personal loans, student loans was not. But I think that that will pay off for us in the coming years as we're able to innovate more quickly.
One of the things that we found is that shopping and buying are very different behaviors. I think there's a notion that if you make something buyable on the web, that people will buy. But what we found that actually recreating that shopping journey on the web is not a trivial task. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about, how do you get a user from that moment of inspiration all the way down to buying something, and what's the most obvious way to do that? And what we found is we actually look at offline retail as a source of inspiration.
Consumers now are basically expecting that they will have access to a broad range of information and product offering and a frictionless experience if they want to buy, as well as an experience which allows them to connect across multiple touch points.
I don't believe that any one company can address the issues in front of us alone. This needs to be a partnership, and the only way that the private sector and the private sector can work together is through open platforms that enable the best of one company's assets to merge with the best of another company's assets, put those together to hyper-serve segments of the market that neither of us could do alone.
I am in a startup in IBM. Last year, we stood up a division called Industry Platforms with a very new mandate for IBM to take our cloud and cognitive capabilities and to put them into industry vertical platforms that our clients can build on, both fintechs, incumbent banks, incumbent retailers, to take our technology and for the first time deeply verticalize it at the system and process level. I want to tell you that is a very different thing for IBM to do, and it's been an absolute exciting journey. The other thing we did is we stood up blockchain, and we really looked hard and said this will be the process engine between companies for the next era, and we put a huge bet into it, and that's part of the startup I drove and run to.
And if you look at watch Iron Man, Tony Stark goes there and then talks to Jarvis, but it doesn't, it actually uses gesture to spin things around. But it never occurred to me, or it doesn't hesitate at all on which modality I use next. Right? Should I use hand or it just actually comes natural to me. So I think it's this multimodal where it's not just one method, but it's multiple method. But so natural in a way that interface is not telling users to what to do, what to use, but the users determines what modality to use most convenient for that context. And I call that as a natural, this multimodal interface. I think that's what's coming for this revolution.
Whenever an industry is attacked by a technology innovation of the sort of scale that we see appearing in financial services today, it changes the dominance of the key players in that industry significantly, almost every time without a fault. So when you look at the innovation that's occurring in the fintech space today and in financial services in general, what you see right now is the fastest creators of the innovations around blockchain, artificial intelligence, voice capabilities and so forth, tends to be the fintech leaders, the startups and those guys that can deploy capital more efficiently to produce that innovation. And that's what we see right now. And that gap is growing, the gap between, in terms of rate of innovation with fintechs versus incumbents.